This is a different level of volleyball they will be facing. That takes us to our keys to the match. And Amy Gant, when you look at what Stanford and BYU are both going to try and do against each other, what have you pinpointed tonight?
Well, I think Stanford really wants to keep BYU away from their middle blocker. Eschenberg has been fantastic, and they're going to really try to adjust and take them out. Their pursuit defense, that's something Stanford has been working on all season long. They wanted to get better at defense, and they think they've done it. They especially want to get up and be terminal. That's when you get up and attack the ball, see if you can finish it off. Don't extend the rally because BYU is a very scrappy team. For BYU, they've got to get back there and serve tough. They've got to take some chances and attack the gap in their offense because this Stanford team is huge. And then use this amazing crowd, and the energy that they bring to the floor will only help the Cougars.
Our keys to the match presented by Tim Daly Nissan. Tim Daly Auto Group serving Utah since 1968. Now to tonight's starting lineup, specifically for Stanford, presented by Intermountain Healthcare, keeping the Cougs healthy as the official sports medicine provider for BYU Athletics. Take your pick of great players here, Amy. Catherine Plummer, Megan McClure, what a tandem they are hitting the ball. The middle blockers, big, physical, Holly Campbell, Tammy Alade, Kate Formico, Jenna Gray, and then you'll hear the name Morgan Hentz a ton tonight at libero.
She is so fun to watch, such an incredible athlete, and she has almost a sixth sense about the ball. She and Mary Lake for BYU are two of the best liberos in the country, and it's just fun to watch them.
Mary Lake, the West Coast Conference Libero of the Year. Hentz for Stanford, the Pac-12 Libero of the Year. Now starters for the home BYU Cougars. Again, ranked 9th right now. Ronnie Jones-Perry, All-American candidate. McKenna Miller was a third-team All-American. Her freshman season had a bit of a drop-off last year, hoping to reignite that and get back to what she believes she can be. Heather Knighting, Kennedy Eschenberg. I'm interested to watch those middle blockers match up against Stanford's. I think that could be a critical matchup tonight if BYU is to steal a few sets, if not upset the top-ranked team. Sydney Martindale, defensive specialist, Lindy Haddock, and the aforementioned Mary Lake. Those are your starters. Now to the head coaches. For Stanford first is Kevin Hambly. 32-4. Not a bad opening campaign for Mr. Hambly.
The former All-American Cougar himself.
So many ties that come back to BYU across the volleyball world. And you have just so aptly pointed one of those out. And there is Heather Olmstead. Her record also not too shabby. Into her 4th season, a 3-0 start. Now has 90 wins, 11 losses. Anytime you can flirt with a 900 win percentage, typically doing some things pretty well.
But also, if you look at the scheduling #1, Stanford, not afraid to challenge this team, and I think that's the goal for Heather Olmstead and the coaching staff. Let's see what this team does with the opportunity to play the best in the country, and I think that's more than anything what this match is about.
Looking at the series history between BYU and Stanford, the Cardinal lead it all time. 8-match wins to 4 for the Cougars, though BYU in this building 3-1 against a heralded Stanford program. We are moments away from the opening serve. Megan McClure, the 6-foot sophomore out of Rancho Santa Margarita, California, back to open up this match. #1 versus #9. Here we go on BYU TV. Serve is over and out for a service error. Point to BYU to open things up. Now,
Stanford is just coming off a week where they were back east in D.C. playing. They're a week on the road. That's going to be interesting to know. I mean, they haven't started school yet, so why not? But that might be a factor in this match as well.
Near ace for McKenna Miller. And on the slide, Heather Knighting a bit too long. That'll go out for a point back to the Cardinal, and we're tied at 1 here early in the first set.
BYU really trying to establish that middle early. I think that's really smart. You talked about the size of Stanford at the net. Catherine Plummer, 6'6". When we get Fitzmaurice in there, she's 6'6" as well. So a lot of big block in front.
Haddock outside to Ronnie Perry. The block is there and handled by McClure. Now Stanford and Plummer hoping for hands, don't get it. Side out back to BYU, 2-1 Cougars.
Knighting's going to put a nice, hard-driven float serve to try to disrupt the passing lanes for Stanford.
The 6'4" freshman. And there is the tip shot. Stetler couldn't get to it. And a nice tip shot from Stanford and Catherine Plummer.
Right, exactly. And there's Catherine Plummer. What she's been working on all off season is kind of expanding that toolbox. She can get up, she can hammer, but this past season she worked on developing a hard line, developing a tip, pushing the ball. She's so well-rounded to add to that incredible power.
Jenna Gray now serving for the Cardinal. Serves Martindale. Haddock outside. Ronnie Jones-Perry.
And Jones-Perry coming off an incredible match yesterday where she was really that go-to player, gained a lot of confidence, and coming into this, 6'6" blocker in front of you, and there's a seam, she gets it.
That's off the tape. Plummer there for Stanford. She gets it right back and goes at Mary Lake, who has the dig. Danelle Paradis-Stetler puts it back over to Stanford. The Cardinal through the BYU block, and there is Kennedy Eschenberg. BYU up 4-2. Eschenberg on the block and then cleans it up with the kill.
Started with a fantastic dig from Mary Lake on that hammer, and BYU able to transition it. Eschenberg in good position right there to put that ball down.
4-2 BYU in the middle. A dig by Stetler is put back in play. Stanford can't get through the BYU block. They recover, and now Plummer hits the antenna on the outside off the pin, and BYU out to a quick 5-2 lead in set number 1.
Well, and listen to this crowd and the energy. The longer these rallies go, it is in BYU's favor because they fight. The emotion gets going, and then Stanford at a disadvantage is forced into an error situation there.
Haddock to serve for BYU to Plummer. Set in the middle and a quick response. But Jenna Gray finds Tammy Alade, and it's 5-3. That ends the miniature BYU run.
And Alade's a player who last year in her first starting role, just every single match got better and better. She had a fantastic season and looks to do the same in this senior year.
Plummer serves Lake, and Eschenberg into her own side of the net. Back-to-back points for the Cardinal. The most recent thanks to a hitting error by the Cougars.
It's that a little low to Eschenberg, kind of around her chin. She can't quite keep that over the net. And for sure, you're going to want to get it high against this blocking team. But as we saw with Stanford, as BYU runs quick, there's some seams that open up that they can attack.
Plummer serving at 5-4 in favor of BYU. And the block is there for the Cardinal. Adriana Fitzmaurice and Alade teaming up on the right side of the net, and it's a 3-0 run for the Cardinal to pull even at 5.
It's a big block for Robinson there on the outside. She really wants to use the hands rather than go for the seam.
Good serve from Plummer. Robinson. The dig by the Cardinal. Plummer from the back line, and that is hit just long. And BYU gets a desired point to put the Cougars back in front by 1.
Great up, and then another missed opportunity. And both these teams kind of struggling from the offensive situation. And then you remember, oh yeah, this is the first week of preseason. You know, we're going to have a few things that still need to be worked out in the Kings. Still, it's a high level of play, but you know, we're not in November yet.
Service error by Ronnie Jones-Perry gives one back to the Cardinal. Each team with one service error here early. 6 is on the board. Both teams hitting a negative percentage. There is Robinson. This time on the right side, she finds a seam and some space on the floor for a kill.
Haddock Epic setting for the Cougars right now, doing a nice job, really moving the ball around. She's attacking antenna to antenna, really trying to make those blockers for Stanford move.
Off the block, Mary Lake there to recover on the Plummer kill attempt. McKenna Miller. Point BYU.
Great pursuit from Mary Lake to pop that ball up, and then a perfectly placed set from Lindsay Haddock Epic. That is a tough ball to set. If you put it too close to the net, you're right into the block. It was perfection.
Back set this time, and that's hit long by Fitzmaurice. So a set of mini runs thus far. BYU answers back after 3 consecutive points with Stanford with 3 of their own, taking advantage of some hitting errors. Mary Lake, BYU leading 9-6. Gray, miscommunication there. Opportunity for BYU on the free ball. Good defensive effort by Hentz. Block there for the Cougars. Stanford out of system, and BYU's big block in the middle taking advantage.
Well, it's that defense for BYU, nothing hitting the floor, and then that transitions into that incredible block. Knighting, who's just come in as a true freshman, already for blocking. Such a big boost to this team.
The jump float from late, 10-6 BYU. And there's a better swing from Fitzmaurice inside the dig attempt of Lindy Haddock Epic.
And Fitzmaurice is a player who was in the middle last season, transitioning out there, moving to the opposite, and really in a place where her skills are showcased a lot better. She's got good range, sees the ball well. She's going to do well.
Kate Formico on the serve. McKenna Miller receives, gets it right back. Nice dig by Catherine Plummer. Gray outside. McClure off the block and effective.
One of my favorite shots, hitting that ball, using the block that's in front of you. If you hit it hard enough, high off the hands, you expand the court, and nobody's playing defense way back there in the stands.
Megan McClure, high flyer at 6 feet on the outside. Epic sets Miller. Another good dig. Block recovering. Stanford will reset. This time they go to the slide, and that ball sneaks over somehow. Holly Campbell will score the point for the Cardinal.
Holly Campbell, true freshman for Stanford, on the floor in the middle. Gets up there. That's a tough play, but she's able to come around, transition. Although McKenna Miller was right in there, that ball just unlucky bounce.
Service error from the Cardinal. That one goes long. And let's credit Morgan Hentz for the defensive effort that she's made in the past few plays to kind of slow down this BYU momentum. Our scorebox sponsor tonight, Brady Industries, a provider of commercial cleaning supplies and equipment. First set, 9th-ranked BYU leading number 1 ranked Stanford 11-9. Emotions high here in the Smithfield House. The crowd is basically at capacity for this early top 10 matchup. And McClure tried to go high hands cross court on that sharp angle, and she hits it wide right. Another hitting error, and the hitting woes really for both teams continue.
Right, and you can't, the crowd is so fantastic because it's hard as a team to maintain the emotion to get you through, but with this crowd, it's so much easier.
12-9 BYU, timeout here in set number 1. And in this moment, we'd like to take you to a conversation we had with Heather Olmstead, what the coach is feeling and thinking as BYU begins this early tough season schedule.
I love the matchup versus Stanford because they're tall and physical like our team is. They've got great setting, they've got good ball control, so it's going to challenge our serving, it's going to challenge our blocking, and so we're going to have to pick up our game if we want to hang with them, and I totally expect us to do that. You know, the coaches voted Stanford to be number 1, rightfully so. Went to the Final Four last year, a national champ 2 years ago. We know they're good, they're loaded with talent, they're well coached, they're disciplined, they've got great energy. So we're looking to compete against the best team in the country right now, and that's exciting for our group. And we really want to go out and leave everything out on the court and work on the things that we're doing well and see if we can get a little bit better. And I think if we compete and bring good energy, we're going to be able to do good things against Stanford.
That number 1 target, very visible on the backs of the Stanford Cardinal collectively. Of note, BYU all-time against number 1 ranked teams, 2-11. That said, the last win against a number 1 ranked team came against Stanford back in the year 2000. Hey, Amy, you might remember that one, right?
Yeah, you think I played, but I'm even older than that. I was part of the 2-11. I believe we lost. You've got a good Stanford group when I was playing. They just keep getting better.
And an ace, the first of the match for BYU, Sydney Martindale. Out of the timeout, big time point for BYU.
You know, I love Heather Olmstead in that clip because that is what an Olmstead team does. They fight and they have a lot of energy and they work hard, and I love to see how they compete.
McClure. Martindale attempted the pancake, but came up just a little bit flat, and the side out to Stanford.
Boo. You were waiting for that one.
Unintentional, cheesy humor on this volleyball
well, and then
match.
in that particular one, you don't go for the pancake, right? That one you could actually kind of run through and pop it up and get under it.
Ronnie Jones-Perry, huge swing. Stanford survives, back over to the BYU side. Knighting in the middle. And Epic with another smart move as the setter.
A lot of times when you look at how well a setter is doing, their location is always the #1 priority. And Epic right now just finding those little seams to allow her hitters to be in great position.
McKenna Miller, an aggressive serve, and this time Plummer able to go high hands on that BYU block and overpower the Cougars there. 14-11 BYU, set #1. Jason Shepard, what'd you find out during the break?
Head coach Heather Olmstead talking to her team about watching for the tips. She said, you guys are playing aggressive, which I like, but make sure you're prepared for that at the net.
And there is another untimely service error for Stanford. Sydney Wilson, that's 3. And then if you count BYU's ace they just picked up, I mean, that's 4 big points on the serve.
Right, and that's where, as a player, Olmstead, you know, you watch for the tips, because if a team isn't confident, if they're making a lot of errors, then sometimes they go with the safe tip to try to bail themselves out.
Through the middle, Tammy Alade, the 6'2" senior, scores again, and the Cardinal have found some success. I wouldn't be surprised to see them go back to that again and again until BYU could find an answer for Alade in the middle.
Well, I think so far BYU's done a nice job sticking to their game plan of serving so tough that Stanford hasn't been able to get into some offensive rhythm.
Martindale, Epic, goes with the dump kill. Cardinal defense recovers. The free ball back to Ronnie Jones-Perry. Bombs away.
And BYU's running a quick offense. You'll notice how quick that ball goes to the outside. That prevents the middle from getting out there in a big attack. Watch this free ball and then the transition. It's a very, very quick swing. There's a big hole in the block, and Jones-Perry has a ton of court to hit into.
16-12 BYU, set #1 in this top 10 matchup. Stanford goes to the slide. Look at Mary Lake keep that ball up. Perry pushing it down the line. The Stanford defense up for the contest, but BYU and Ronnie Jones-Perry one step ahead once again. It's a 5-point advantage for BYU at 17-12.
Oh, Mary Lake, 2 incredible moves. Anytime you're moving to your left and diving outside the court, it's just kind of counterintuitive to the game because most are coming in, but she read that so well and is able to pop that up and get her team another point.
Jump flow from Lindy Haddock Epic. Plummer. And really that was in front of no block. So
well, that's where Maddie Robinson, you say, no, never leave Catherine Plummer all alone on the outside.
That'll be a learning moment for Maddie Robinson
hey, she
later
didn't
on.
want to get beat by the middle. We've all been there and done it.
That ball hit Ronnie Perry and will go as an ace. She got caught in the middle of the zone of not really knowing if she wanted to hit that ball and then try to get out of the way, and it hit her on the inside of her arm. So a key point for Plummer, who earns that ace for Stanford. 17-14. They go right back to Perry. Epic sets Perry, and the Stanford block is there. 3-0 run for the Cardinal. Just like that, they're within 2.
You can feel that momentum shift, and it's all on Catherine Plummer's serve. If you see, watch how BYU's struggling there to get that pass into the net, and so the block for Stanford can set up, but it starts with the serve, and Plummer's serve is low and flat and difficult.
Maddie Robinson, tip shot, and a net violation on Stanford. Point BYU 18-15. Ronnie Perry, one of a handful of preseason All-West Coast Conference selections on this BYU side. The Cougars a heavy favorite to win the WCC once again. McClure, oh, that dives down and finds just a bit of the line. Cross court, deep kill, 18-16.
And McClure's one of the few players for Stanford that didn't play beach last season, and as a result, she was able to work all off season on developing those shots. That's one right there, that deep corner, so tough.
Epic backs at Robinson into her own side of the net. The Cardinal within one. Morgan Hentz will serve once again. This time a chance for the Cardinal to even things up here late in the first set. Timeout first from BYU head coach Heather Olmstead. We'll take the break with the teams. Number 9 BYU, number 1 Stanford. Late first set, don't go anywhere.
Are you looking for a better way to deliver results this year? Expanding your product line or building new locations? How about your online presence? Does it need a boost? Maybe you just want to put a little more distance between you and the competition. Tap into the powerful engine of BYU Athletics and let us put together a plan unique to your business. We can provide you with the tools designed to enhance your brand on a local, regional, or national level. We invite your team to join ours. For details, email sponsorship@byu.edu today.
Okay, welcome to life. Can we get started with some education?
Charity! Charity! Tomato best, lobster best.
BYU Women's Volleyball on BYU TV is brought to you by Tim Daly Auto Group, serving Utah since 1968. Brady Industries, honestly better. And by AAA. What does your insurance do when it's not doing insurance? It should do more. Learn more at AAA.com.
Back in Provo, Utah, a Friday night top 10 NCAA women's volleyball showdown between 9th-ranked BYU. The Cougars trying to move to 4-0 and pick up a signature win for their program against top-ranked Stanford at 2-0. 18-17 BYU in set number 1. They go to the quick set in the middle. All starts with a good pass. Kennedy Eschenberg with another kill, and it's 19-17 Cougars.
And that's the spot right there. I think BYU can really try to utilize as much as possible. Eschenberg in the middle, going up against freshman Holly Campbell. This is she was in club like 5 months ago. So it's a big, big adjustment. And if BYU can try to use that, that'll be great for them.
Knighting and point to BYU. Did they call that a net violation on Stanford? I think that's been confirmed. Either way, point BYU 20-17. Mary Lake, big back-to-back points for BYU out of the timeouts. Ronnie Jones-Perry with the dig. Miller is stuffed, but out of bounds. 3-0 run. Timeout, Stanford, 21-17.
And what you'll notice about BYU is, yes, they're scrappy. They're putting it all out defensively, but what they're able to do is not just pop that ball up, but turn it into an attack. That's pretty fantastic when you can control the ball so well that you aren't giving free balls or down balls to the other team. You're in constant attack mode, and that puts Stanford on their heels back on the defensive the whole time.
Now, before that 3-0 run coming out of the timeout, BYU was hitting as a team 136. All of a sudden, it's up to 240. I mean, 3 solid points like that will help the percentages. BYU out hitting the Cardinal 240 to 148, and just 4 points away from an opening set win. Now, feast your eyes on the screen at this fabulous 5. AVCA All-Americans in 2017. Stanford with 4. BYU had the lone representative in Ronnie Jones-Perry. But Bray, Hentz, Plummer, Fitzmorse all back.
Right, and these aren't honorable mention, not that that's a bad thing, but first team, second team, third team. Incredible talent on the floor. What an exciting match. Here it is, the 4th one of the entire season. So much fun.
The Stanford team, as you mentioned, Amy, coming off a trip to Washington, D.C., where they won in sweep fashion against American and Howard. no question, this is a major step up in level of competition coming to the Smith Fieldhouse and taking on a very motivated BYU team. McClure out of the timeout. Big point for Mr. Hambly's side and the Stanford Cardinal.
And I think it's just interesting, both these coaches are going to be watching their team, how they react in certain situations. How do you play when you're ahead? How do you play when you're behind, when you're struggling? Where's the fight? Does it continue? You know, there's so much learning because these teams want to be good, not just now, but in November.
Scrambling defense. Pushed just a little bit too far left and outside of the line. BYU leading 22-18. Sydney Martindale has the lone service ace for BYU here early in this match. She's back to serve once again. A set from Gray in the middle. BYU defense is there to dig Campbell. Miller tried to go deep corner and hit it just a bit too long. Point Stanford.
Smart shot, Miller just missed. Trying to not just put that ball in, but put it in a tough position.
McClure to serve with Stanford trailing 22-19. And another service error. And you have to wonder at what point the elevation and with how much Stanford wants to bomb away from the service line is impacting, because it is an issue, especially in men's volleyball. And you're like, a lot of service errors from teams that come from the coast.
Right, and I think it's not as big of a deal if Stanford is in their usual side-out form. They are usually so side-out tough that, yeah, you can miss a serve because you're going to come right back and get the ball back with a hammer on the outside. And so because they're struggling offensively, I think they're feeling those missed serves a little bit, but usually just go for it. You've got to attack.
McKenna Miller gave one right back. No problem for Ronnie Jones-Perry, who wins the point right back, and it's set point for the Cougars, 24-20.
Smart play. Jones-Perry down the line, uses those hands out of bounds.
Ronnie Perry, 4 kills, 2 digs in the opening set. The third-team All-American outside hitter. This for set number 1. Plummer off the block of Epic and Eschenberg. They go right back to Plummer, and she's inside the 6'4" Knighting, who just shrugged her shoulders and says, nothing I can do about that.
Well, I think she's saying, when has the setter ever attacked the ball in this whole match? Don't jump with the setter. Jenna Gray sold it, I'll give her that. But you don't leave Catherine Plummer alone on the outside.
Jenna Gray to Martindale. Another set point for BYU. Perry looking for the 5th kill. There is Hentz once again defensively. Plummer, tip shot, but the pancake this time works out. Perry tried to tip it over, that's blocked. Now Perry trying to power through, cannot do so. Lake, one more time to Ronnie Perry. 3rd time's a charm. BYU takes set number 1, 25-21.
As we look at this, this is what Kevin Hambly is going to challenge. Off the tip, did BYU get that pancake up from this angle? It did not
it hit the floor.
Look good. And that's what he's going to challenge. But what a finish for Jones-Perry on the outside, blistering that ball.
Well, they'll take a good long look at that. I think Hambly has every bit of a reason to challenge that. And he's probably going to win. We'll see. But if that's the case, then it will be 24-22, and BYU will have another set point to try and close out the opener here. Yeah, I think that's in front of Stetler's right hand.
I think it is, and so then the challenge becomes, as we look here, they're changing the call. Momentum, right? Everything about BYU had the momentum. There's energy in the gym. Could that little lull open the door for Stanford just a little bit to come back in? What BYU needs right now is a quick side-out kill, get it done, get to set 2.
Successful challenge, so Stanford has survived 2 set points. Here is number 3. Martindale, Epic, they go right back to Perry. No doubt about that one. And now BYU closes out the first set.
Exact same shot. Ronnie Jones-Perry using that incredible athleticism, jumping out of the gym, hammering that ball sharp cross court. to get a big win over the #1 team in the country.
Decisive opening set victory for 9th-ranked BYU, 25-22. Ronnie Jones-Perry with 5 kills and continues to bring it here early in the season. Coming back with set number 2, you're watching NCAA Women's Volleyball Top 10 matchup on BYU TV.
When my grandfather started this company in 1947, he couldn't have envisioned what we would ultimately become. We realized that our value to our customers is that we will be there day after day, year after year, doing whatever we need to find solutions to the challenges that they face. We are committed to be honestly better in all that we do, in every opportunity that we have to serve our customers.
What sport would you play professionally?
Golf.
I would totally do volleyball.
I always wanted to be a football player.
I kind of want to be a tennis player.
I wanted to be a pro basketball player growing up. I love being a part of things that are way bigger than me. I can watch sports, I can attend sports, talking about sports.
It just unites so many people. Like, there's nothing like when something wild happens, everybody is connected in that one singular moment.
I think I wanted to get close to the game, be a broadcaster. It's been fun. I love the adrenaline rush I still get from that. Are you cool not being a pro baseball player?
I kind of feel like I missed out not pursuing that 100%.
Bring him home!
But it's okay, because even from the time I was like 9 years old I want to talk about it. It feels like where I need to be.
Tuesday on BYU Football with Kalani Sitake. The coach recaps the Arizona game, previews the matchup with Cal, and answers your questions using the hashtag Sitake Show. Watch BYU Football with Kalani Sitake Tuesday at 8 Eastern on BYU TV.
I'm Precious Anderson.
I'm Paris Anderson.
I think it was around 7 that I actually got adopted. I think I thought the visits would continue afterwards, but that stops. It was heartbreaking, but I had to move on.
The smallest things about not knowing her family affects her. I just want her to be at peace with whatever is revealed.
I think my #1 question would be, did you ever try to look and find me?
We welcome you back to the Smith Fieldhouse as we approach set number 2. BYU winning set number 1, 25-22. Our game summary presented by Deseret First Credit Union. Deseret First, your values, your timeline, your financial future. BYU out hitting the Cardinal 207-182, and no way are those eye-popping numbers, but BYU did take advantage of 4 service errors by the Cardinal, and they found a way to close it out even after the successful challenge by Kevin Hambley to extend it 1 more point. Ronnie Jones-Perry too much. She was the star of the first set for BYU.
Yeah, Jones-Perry definitely playing well offensively, but what that first match was how do you win when things aren't going well? Both sides not hitting well, couldn't really find a good group, but there was fight, and nobody gave up. And for BYU, as they continued to kind of work through that, and it ended up going their way.
Jason Shepard, what did you find out from the Stanford huddle during the break?
As you can imagine, they were talking about errors and not committing them anymore. Coach Hambley told his team, we've got to make BYU work for everything. He says, right now we're not doing that. Whether it's the errors or bad passes, we've got to make BYU work, guys.
Well, and that is the exact opposite in point number 1 of set number 2 of what Coach Hambley wanted to make BYU do. Basically a free ball back to the Cougars, which McKenna Miller eventually pays off, and it's a 1-0 lead for BYU. The dump kill attempt dug by Epic. Haddock is dug on the back by McClure. That's off the block of Knighting. Epic sets Knighting in the middle. And a violation whistled on Stanford. Hintz was there with the dig, but to no avail. Wouldn't have counted either way, and it's 2-0 BYU. And you see just a little bit of a bump in the net from Alade. So BYU out to a 2-0 start here in set number 2. And
wow,
how did that point go to Stanford?
That's fantastic. Plummer, what was she going to do with that? There was nothing else she could do. That ball is tight. It is almost over the net, and
wow!
And that's why she's a great beach player as well. Who can do that with their hand? Even though it looks like on her follow-through, she hit the net a little bit, but it was a fantastic play.
Now, was Heather Olmstead? No, okay.
Oh, gonna argue that one?
Yeah, thinking about arguing that.
It's always tricky because anytime you stop play like that, you're limiting your momentum as well.
Miller's tip shot handled no problem by Jenna Gray. Hence, will set Fitzmaurice, and there is the BYU block.
Heather Knighty moves so well. Watch her get over and close that block. As a middle, you've got to be able to move laterally very quickly and make good choices with your eyes. A lot of times when you're a true freshman, that speed is tough to pick up, but Knighting so far, fantastic, making great moves, and she's quick.
Quick set off the block. Martindale there, Lake, Miller, right at Hentz. Plummer. Boy, when she wants to bring it, she can bring it.
Catherine Plummer's a great player in that she's not very demonstrative emotionally, right? She is quiet, but she is a killer, and she is very, very competitive, very cerebral, communicates well, but you don't have to be rah-rah to be that kind of go-to. Whoever you want to be, you can do that. You don't have to force someone into being someone they're not. And I love watching Catherine Plummer play because everything about her is focus.
After that kill, Plummer gives one back on the service error. That's 5 for the match for Stanford. The first here in set number 2. It's 4-2 BYU. Knighting and Haddock on the block. They go right back to McClure. And she gets fingertips. Point Stanford, 4-3. Megan McClure. There's the first block attempt. Hence recovery, and
you can just
a little bit of a flick there. Yeah,
see those fingers.
Hence float. Knighting stuff, but Lake there to cover. Knighting a third time. Nice defensive effort by Jenna Gray, and that's just a bad break for Stanford. And they did all the right things defensively, and then that happens.
When that ball pops up and you don't know where it is, it's hard. You kind of want to get inside yourself. Jenna Gray didn't know where her libero was.
5-3 BYU. Service error from Knighting. BYU gives one back here. The Cougars remain up 1-5-4. They took the opening set 25-22 if you're just joining us in this matchup of the 9th ranked and top ranked teams in America. Kate Formico. Perry with 5 kills in the first set. Formico covering the line. Plummer from the back line. That's through the BYU block. Epic sets Kennedy Eschenberg. She used every bit of the floor. Finds the deep line out of the middle. 6-4 Cougars.
It was so fun talking to Coach Olmstead about Eschenberg. She said she is the most unselfish player she's ever seen. No ego, whatever's best for the team. She is so coachable and such a joy to have on the team. She's had an incredible season last year, and I think this year is her year.
The block there for BYU, Ronnie Perry at the pin. Put it back off the leg of Holly Campbell, and it's 7-4 BYU.
Jones Perry is going to work wherever she is on the floor. Look at that elevation. She is not huge, right? She's not 6'4", but she gets up.
Block there once again. Perry and Eschenberg, 8-4 BYU. And another timeout for Stanford.
Terrific positioning, great timing, Ronnie Jones-Perry, and this BYU team does not give up.
What a start for the BYU Cougars. Take the opening set. They're up 8-4 in set number 2. The upset alert.
Man, this car is amazing. Look at that touchscreen. How about that confidence? Look how she handles those groceries. Positively effortless. The teenager is borrowing the car. This could get rough, but no, that's a reliable car and a win for Mom.
So you mentioned you want to finance with Deseret First Credit Union?
Definitely.
Mom's dream car is as close as Deseret First Credit Union. That's right. Get pre-approved online today or talk to your dealer. Your dreams at Deseret First Credit Union. That's right.
My name is Eric Dowdle. I'm an artist, and I never leave without my sketch pad. It's because I can't help but draw and paint the great places I get to visit.
Tonight we're going out into the Bermuda Triangle.
It's an archipelago of adventure. From hidden caves to ocean depths to abandoned shipwrecks, there's no shortage of exotic exploration to pack into one painting.
So join me as we paint the town of Bermuda.
Welcome back to BYU Women's Volleyball, and we take a look at the BYU Store Sports History Showcase. The BYU Store, the official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere. No problems for BYU in their opening match of this BYU Nike Invitational against West Virginia. 3 sets. Ronnie Jones-Perry with 13 kills. Mary Lake had 16 digs, and the Cougars rolled to a 3-0 mark, trying to remain unbeaten and take down number 1 ranked Stanford. Up 1-0 are the Cougars, and 8-4 here in set 2. And the Cardinal with Megan McClure answer out of the timeout.
Stanford, you notice, trying to kind of speed up the offense a little bit, especially when McClure's there on the outside. That block for BYU has been so big in their face, they're trying to open up some seams.
Epic. Perry. Right now, the third-team All-American looks every bit the part of a first-team All-American.
Fantastic. And she's getting kills on the outside, on the right side, and while it looks like it's the same play, it's very different. One you have to wait for the ball to pass your body, one you have to pick it off early. So, incredible work from Jones-Perry.
Why not tack on an ace? 10-5. Listen to these numbers early on for Ronnie Perry. 6 kills, hitting .417, 4 digs, 2 blocks, and now an ace.
Very well-rounded, contributing wherever she is on the floor.
Formico with the reception of that serve. Perry did enough to keep that ball alive for BYU. Gray sets Catherine Plummer. Perry with a dig. Gray, and that's pushed down the line. It hit Lake in the face, but the ball stays up. There's Lake one more time. Perry, tip shot. Plummer, hit long! What a point for BYU!
Mary Lake will not let anything fall. She is everywhere. Doing a great job too. You see her move her body back, allowing the ball so she didn't carry it. Terrific effort. I think BYU is just making it so hard on Stanford. They are not giving them any easy points. They're making them earn every single one, and as a result, as they extend the rally, Stanford's forced to make errors.
Ronnie Perry, rare mistake thus far tonight with a service error. It's 11-6 BYU in set number 2, but Sydney Wilson can't take advantage as she gives it right back on the service error from the Cardinal, and BYU now leads 12-6. That is 6 service errors for Stanford, 4 for BYU.
Well, I think as you look at Stanford, and that's what the coaching staff's going to look at, how do they respond being in this situation? If you look on their faces, they're kind of looking for somebody to step up and take control.
The quick set in the middle. Hit into the Stanford side of the net by Tammy Aladai, and it's now 13-6 BYU in set number 2.
Just a lot of forced errors as Stanford kind of feels like their backs are against the wall.
Tip shot, Epic there. Lake, bump set, McKenna Miller. That ball is hammered out of bounds. Off the dig attempt, and MC Hammer.
And Epic doing a great job playing defense as well. She reads that tip, they're able to transition it, and then the hammer on the outside. Miller, look at that arm, too much for the defense.
14-6, BYU already up 1-0, looking to go up 2 sets on the top-ranked team. Stanford, Miller off the block, This time handled by McClure. Gray sets Plummer. That's wide right. The wheels falling off and set number 2 for Stanford.
Well, and I think looking at Plummer, I think the pressure of feeling like I've got to do this whole thing right now instead of let's work our way back in. This BYU emotion just so much right now. Absolutely incredible.
And how much can this emotion continue to carry the Cougars? Right now, all things looking good for the home team. 15-6. Stay with us.
Call it a path. Or way through. It can be arrow straight or have twists and turns. It's life's financial journey, and Mountain America Credit Union is here to guide you every step of the way. With timely advice and affordable products, this is your journey. Let's begin together. We're Mountain America, guiding you forward.
AAA agents like Octavia are popping up where people are having doubts about insurance. Like here, where Makai is learning to drive.
What brings you in today?
When I get my car, can my friends drive it as well?
If you want to outsmart insurance doubt, visit a AAA branch.
I ain't got no chip.
The BYU TV Sports Postgame. BYU at Arizona. Tomorrow, after the game, on BYU TV.
BYU Women's Volleyball on BYU TV is brought to you by Tim Daly Auto Group, serving Utah since 1968. Brady Industries, honestly better. And by AAA. What does your insurance do when it's not doing insurance? It should do more. Learn more at AAA.com.
Ronnie Jones-Perry having a night for the BYU Cougars. 6 kills, hitting .385, 6 digs, 2 blocks, a service ace, and has led BYU to an impressive opening set victory, and now a eye-opening 15-6 lead on #1 ranked Stanford here in set number 2. The Cougars with a chance to go up by double digits in this set right now. Plummer, that's done by Perry. They call a double hit on Perry.
Oh, that's a hard-driven ball. That's a tough one. And that pretty much sums up the frustration with Stanford, because even with your best hard-driven swing, look, BYU's there. It's popping up. Nothing is hitting the floor.
Point to Stanford, 15-7. BYU still in control. Gray to Perry. Epic sets Miller through the block and down on the right side, shallow part of the court, 16-7. BYU. Down official having a conversation at the table. Now gives the go-ahead, and Martindale will serve for BYU. The defensive specialist to McClure. Gray, back set Plummer. Point, Catherine Plummer. She now has 8 kills to lead Stanford and everybody in the match for that matter, but she's hitting just 130. She's taken a ton of swings.
Right, and she hits a heavy, heavy ball, and that's one of the few times that, you know, that back corner's open and BYU continues to battle. Can they come back real quick to keep that momentum?
Tough serve by Plummer. Quick set in the middle.
Well, if we remember from set 1, when Stanford kind of got some momentum back was behind the service of Catherine Plummer. It's hard and it has a lot of float. It's very, very tough to pass.
Plummer to Mary Lake on the slide. Block there, and you can see the momentum and the belief starting to shift just a little bit back towards the Cardinal side, but you have to wonder, are they in too much of a hole right now to get out of this? 16-10, 3 straight for Stanford.
Well, I think what BYU wants to ensure is don't open the door. It doesn't matter how big the hole is, just try to keep Stanford from kind of raising their game. And
it's a 4-0 run. Miller cannot solve the block of the Cardinal. Olade, and not surprisingly, timeout Heather Olmstead. Nice response from the Cardinal. Trailing 16-7. They have rattled off 4 in a row, and now all of a sudden a 5-point deficit doesn't seem like all that much to handle here. We flash back and remind you what Stanford did just a season ago. Catherine Plummer, Player of the Year in the Pac-12. Jenna Gray, Setter of the Year. Morgan Hentz, Libero of the Year. Conference champions. In fact, Stanford has won 8 of the last 12 Pac-12 conference championships. They went to the Final Four last year, had their eyes on a potential national championship, and they feel like collectively they let one slip away.
Yeah, that was a bad season, which is ridiculous, but they're mad. It was funny talking to Coach Hemley. He said, oh no, they are so motivated. It's incredible. They are just angry and can't stop thinking about, you know, what they let slip away. And so they've been incredible in practice, trying to work hard, looking to where they can improve.
Catherine Plummer, 8 kills, 2 digs. She's causing some problems for BYU from the service line. Does have an ace. And she will look to continue that tough serve as Stanford continues what looked like a very long road back here in set number 2, but a 4-0 run has brought them to within 5 at 16-11. Plummer knighting off the tape. And a free ball back to the Cardinal. That's through the block, and it's a 5-0 run for Stanford. Now BYU starting to think about this even more.
Well, and there's the problem right there is the free ball. You'll notice BYU was able to stay on the offensive this whole time because of their incredible defense. They were popping balls up and they were attacking. Stanford always on the defensive, couldn't come back with something offensive. BYU's got to keep the pressure on.
Plummer still giving BYU fits with that serve, and that ball was palmed down. An easy call for the up official, and a fortunate side out for BYU to end that run.
Now, Olade can tip, but if you change and lift it, right, that's what they're looking at. So she pushed and then threw it down.
17-12 BYU, that ends a 5-0 run. And Olade is stuffed at the net. BYU, like you said, Amy, trying to close the door on that momentum swing.
Because once you let Stanford in, they're not going to go away. So BYU needs to just keep that pressure on. Never take your foot off the gas pedal.
Wide open, Fitzmaurice on the back set. No block there, 18-13.
Well, and Fitzmaurice really not been a big option, a really highly used option yet in this set. And she's a player that can make a huge difference there on the right side.
6'6", Adriana Fitzmaurice at opposite, the junior from Overland Park, Kansas, and on cue. She takes an overpass and has no problems with that.
Right at 6'6", 6'7", she is a big, formidable block and also attacking. She's developed a lot of different shots there on the outside that we haven't seen.
Epic to Perry. Ronnie Perry has been the answer for BYU.
And I love how Perry just goes up and she's going to swing. Who cares how big the block in front of her is? She's going to hit high every time. Look how high she is hitting. She's not going for straight down hard seam, but she elevates so well and hits such a smart ball to that deep corner.
Fitzmaurice. And that earns Stanford another critical point, 19-15. Going back to Ronnie Jones-Perry, it's almost like that vertical is an inch or two higher when there is this type of atmosphere and crowd.
Who wouldn't? Just fantastic. And this floor is so great. You got the Terraflex on the wood. I mean, my old knees are saying, yes, this is where you want to play.
The block is there. This time Perry has her shot stuffed down, and Stanford within 3 at 19-16.
But if you take a look at the teammates behind her, though, when you're a hitter and you go up and you know you can just go up and attack because every single person has your back and they're going to try to cover you and pop that ball up. And
just a brutal service error from Stanford right there.
Well, when you are scraping to get momentum back, to give it away with a missed serve just hurts so much.
Kate Formico gives one back to BYU, 20-16. Gray, McClure, dug by Mary Lake. Perry can't get through the Stanford block. Lake bump set right back to Perry. Don't give her 2 chances. 21-16. Ronnie Perry with her 8th kill to go along with 7 digs and 3 blocks.
Perry at this point driving Morgan Hentz absolutely crazy. She can't get a handle on her. Perry's moving it from cross court, then sharp cross, then even sharper cross. Very tough to read.
McClure, beautiful shot down the line. Sold out with her body and then had a wide open line. 21-17. Excuse me, Megan McClure, 6 kills, 5 digs and a couple of blocks in her own rights. Epic. Eschenberg is blocked. And Haddock gets her first kill. So Epic to Haddock, but they're twin sisters. Only at BYU, right?
Well, and just, it's amazing as you look to the depth that is on this BYU roster. And so all of these players, and we talked to Coach Olmstead, have to be ready at any time to come in and to make an impact.
22-17, BYU 3 points away from a 2-0 lead against #1 ranked Stanford. The ball set back over. As a free ball back to BYU, and the campfire scenario comes into play. Plummer will score the point.
Well, and there's the irony there. All of that incredible hard work defensively, nothing hitting the floor for BYU, and then just miscommunication.
Roast some marshmallows, point to Stanford. Tough serve, 22-18. Haddock! And you said scrappy a couple of times to explain this BYU team at 5'11", going up against that block. Is that not just,
that's just
the definition of it?
Well, and it's so great when the team is behind you, right? She goes up, and credit Lindy Haddock Epic with that. It was a really nice set, nice and high. She's not trapping her hitters. She's allowing them to get the best swing possible.
What a dig by Lake to rob a dump point right there. And that should be hands. It is. Catherine Plummer now.
All of this emotion that we talk about on this BYU team starts with Mary Lake. She feeds everything. She's that court leader on the floor. She drives all of this hard work and effort.
23-19. BYU 2 points away from a 2-0 lead. Lake, Epic, Knighting forced to push it over. Good defense by Gray. Fitzmaurice, no problems for Perry. Miller off the block.
Just so impressed with the transition offense from BYU. First, you have to create opportunities with incredible defense, but you've also got to turn around and convert those opportunities against a big-time block.
Set point BYU once again. Martindale. Gray, quick set, and the Cardinal live to play at least one more point here in set number 2. Olade with the kill, 24-20. Set point number 2. And for Stanford, you have the star back serving that you want to be there in Catherine Plummer.
This is the rotation for Stanford. If they're going to make a comeback, it's right here.
24-20, set point 2. Plummer to Lake, Epic, Ronnie Perry!
Out of the back row, that's how good she is right now, that you have all the options and you're going to go with Perry out of the back row. Incredible.
The Bic for the win. 25-20, BYU leads 2-0. Jason Shepard now with the BYU head coach, Heather Olmstead.
Coach, a 2-0 lead on the #1 team. You did it on the attack and defensively. In your opinion, what was the biggest reason to be in this position right now?
I think we're serving great. We're getting them in a little bit of trouble, and I think we're passing their serves well. And so offensively, we're able to score there. And I'm just proud of how we're playing. We're playing scrappy sloppy defense. It's Stanford. They're going to cut down on their errors, and so we got to be ready for them to play better for sure. But I like how we're playing.
And where else do you feel like you need to maybe up the ante a little bit on your side?
I think we're doing awesome. So I'm just expecting some adjustments by Stanford, and then we'll adjust from there.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Heather Olmstead, not surprisingly, feeling pretty good about what her team just did in the first 2 sets. 25-22, 25-20. BYU 1 set away from knocking out the top-ranked team in America.
And BYU continue to play at that high level and not have a letdown. You mentioned it before. You know, there was no lull. It didn't seem to matter what the score was. BYU had just lost 4 points, but I didn't see any shift in the faces of BYU. They just continued to fight, and that's kind of what you want to see.
Kevin Hambly asking for an explanation from both of the officials here tonight. It's 1-1 on the scoreboard early in set number 3. BYU leading 2 sets to none. Those points came on an ace from Stanford to open up, and then a kill from McKenna Miller on the BYU side.
And also, if you look at this crowd, they have not taken a breath. You know, they've been fantastic as well. It's amazing that their emotion has been able to continue. I mean, not hard when your team's playing well, but it just feeds off each other, and so that's incredible too.
Now, just to take a look at what Stanford will face after this matchup with BYU, they will play 2 more matches, both tomorrow in the Nike Invite, Wichita State and West Virginia. Now here's the replay. Heather Knighting. And what do you see there?
Well, they're looking to see if was that ball called down or was it up? And if they called it down when it wasn't, then that would have disrupted the play. I mean, we saw that the play continued. Stanford didn't get it back over the net, but maybe they're arguing, hey, you called it down, it wasn't down. It affected, you know, how we finished out playing.
Yeah, and the review is something brand new to college volleyball on the women's side.
The past couple of years for sure, and I think it's still trying to find its legs as we get a good look at this. The way that ball bounced up, it looked like it was definitely offensive foot, not the floor, because look at the angle on that. And the fact that she looked like she played that with her foot. That's incredible. Watch her turn her foot at the last second. Yeah, right off her shin there, and that popped it up. But did that affect the play? As you can see, the line judge, she did call down after that.
The challenge still taking place. Each team, each coach have 3 challenges. Hambly has already successfully challenged and won a point back in set number 1, hoping to get another one here. And you can sense that he is going to fight at this juncture. He needs to fight for every point, even if it is early in the set. But after all of that, they rule it that it is indeed a point back to BYU. And we stay at 1-1. So Knighting, I initially said McKenna Miller was credited with the kill. We'll change that to Heather Knighting, the freshman, and now McKenna Miller is back to serve, tied at 1 apiece. That ball is just shy of moving over the net.
That was very smart of Knighting. Anytime a middle is faced with a potential overpass, you know, we get a little excited and want to hammer that ball. She stayed put, knowing that probably wouldn't go over the net.
2-1, now a service error from Miller, which makes it 2-2. Some substitutions on both sides. Donnell Parody-Stetler back in for BYU. Sydney Wilson in to serve for the Cardinal. And Wilson promptly does what she's put in to do. Brings the tough serve, and there's another ace for the Cardinal, 3-2 Stanford.
And this is where Stanford, you know, they have a lot of service errors, so they kind of want to pull back a bit, but they can't. They've got to continue to put the pressure on, try to disrupt BYU's passing.
And the block this time is there. Plummer and Alade, 4-2 Stanford.
It all starts with the serve. Look at that, a triple block almost in front of your middle. That's very, very tough to get past.
Stetler has a tough time with that serve again. Formico. trying to set up the Cardinal, but Plummer pushes it wide right. Side out to BYU, 4-3.
Plummer trying to find that sideline, just misses again. Can't really find her groove so far.
She's got 6 hitting errors, 10 kills, percentage at 148, and Knighting now with a service error back to Stanford. That's 2 here early from BYU in set number 3, and it's a 2-point advantage for the Cardinal. Jenna Gray, junior setter out of Shawnee, Kansas. Perry. Ronnie Perry into double figures with 10 kills.
Perry again with that quick cut to the outside, although it's that double block in front of her, and there's not a ton of space. She is able to find that seam so well.
Only 2 errors with those 10 kills on 20 swings, hitting 400, 5-4 Stanford with a slim 1-point lead at set number 3. Plummer tools the block nicely with Eschenberg and Perry there, and it's 6-4 Cardinal.
This is Stanford's best scoring rotation, so they want to get a few as Plummer goes back to serve. BYU wants to get a quick, perfect pass, put this one away.
That's a pretty good pass right there. And that ball is hit wide left. Haddock and Heather Olmstead are going to utilize a challenge to see if that ball hit the line. Ooh. What do you think? At first glance, it looked out to me.
Every time I see this, I always want the tennis, replay.
The Hawkeye technology,
right,
yes.
That would be helpful in this situation. It looked a little bit out, but I have the worst perspective, so we'll get a good look. But either way, when you have these challenges, you have to think about what this does to the momentum. Who had the momentum in that situation? It was Stanford. They were kind of working their way back here. So maybe it's a good challenge either way because it kind of kills it and allows everything to reset and get back into it. And as you look, both coaches taking advantage, talking to their teams, figuring it out.
It is a point, Stanford. It was out. And that gives the Cardinal a 3-point lead at 7-4. They'll take any break they can get right now. Trailing 2-0. If they are to avoid the upset, they have got to go the distance and win 3 consecutive sets in Provo in the Smith Fieldhouse.
And right now, Stanford's going to switch up their block a little to try to get in front of Perry.
Eschenberg, good dig by Plummer. Epic sets Haddock. Off the block and down. Another kill for Lacey Haddock.
Haddock coming in and using those, using the head of her Stanford block to keep that ball high.
That one off Olade. Gray, back set, Fitzmaurice, dig by Lake. Pass back over by Miller. Gray, one more time to Fitzmaurice. This off the dig attempt of Epic, and out for a Stanford kill. Good resilience by the Cardinal early in set number 3, up 8-5.
Well, and just as you saw on that play, that's one of the few times we've actually seen a transition kill from Stanford so far. They really haven't been able to get that transition offense off a dig, running something quick and getting a kill.
Eschenberg. Ronnie Perry handled the jump float, no problem. BYU in system. Makes quick work of that.
And Eschenberg moving that ball around. She's able to really find that open seam.
8-6, Mary Lake to serve with BYU trailing by 2. Gray, McClure. Perry there, Epic, Miller. 8-7.
Miller hit such a heavy ball. And when she attacks those sidelines, it's really, really tough.
Fitzmaurice pleading, but that ball touched fingertips. Does not get the call. And BYU on a 3-0 run has tied it up at 8 here in set number 3. Blake to serve once again. Fitzmaurice. That's a pretty nice set after a not great pass.
It was a really, you talk a lot in volleyball about bettering the ball. Whatever you get, you want to better it for the next person, and that's exactly what Jenna Gray did.
Kate Formico. Off the tape, Knighting. Epic outside the Miller, and that is a roof. Stanford responds with back-to-back points, 10-8. Holly Campbell in there with Megan McClure.
What's so fun about volleyball is that it's a game of adjustments, and one team does something and the other one has to respond. And so it's up right here for BYU to make a response as Stanford has raised their game.
Well, not the prettiest of points from BYU, but a good job of Epic just to keep that ball off the net and get it over to her outside hitter, McKenna Miller.
I'm surprised that wasn't called, actually. That was a great, I mean, usually you can get away with using that for maybe a quick set where you don't have to do it that far, but that was all the way across the gym.
10-9, Stanford 1-point lead, set number 3. Good cover by Miller on the dump attempt. Now Miller with the roll shot just hit it too long. And an error back over to the Cardinals side, 11-9.
That's a tough play for Miller. She's off the net. That ball's coming behind her head. She's not even facing the court. She did try to take something off it, but that's a tough ball to keep in.
McClure serving with a 2-point lead for the Cardinal. To Perry. Epic. Miller. Down the line. This time that's good for her 9th kill. McKenna Miller.
McKenna Miller is a player that has such an incredible cross-court shot. It could get her through 2 full years, right, of just hammering that cross-court. But this past year, she's really developed a lot of different ones, and that line shot she adds to her arsenal is pretty deadly.
Plummer is stuffed. 6'4" Heather Knighting there, but doing the primary amount of work was Lindy Haddock Epic at 5'11".
She's very smart, though. If you look at Epic, she's going to get outside the ball, press it back in, and take away that seam.
Tied at 11 in the middle. And there's a nice little wrinkle from Stanford as Holly Campbell comes through.
Well, interesting to watch Campbell approach on that ball. She was going for hands out of bounds. You could tell everything about that swing was, I see the block in front of me, and I'm just going to wipe it off the hands.
Heads up play by Campbell. The freshman out of Austin, Texas. And an ace. A little tape sauce right there on that ball, and it's down to make it 13-11. Martindale, Epic, back set, Knighting.
Terrific passing. Wow, BYU coming back and sticking those passes after a tough one. They have been very, very poised there in the passing lanes, and a terrific swing from Knighting to blister that back line.
This BYU side has gone to 6 consecutive Sweet 16s in that run in 2014. Got all the way to the national championship before bowing out to Penn State. And the Cougars, too, feel like they left something out there last year. They had a big lead in set number 5 in that Sweet 16 match, and they've had to stew on that all offseason. So while Stanford feels that, the Cougars are kind of in the same boat. 2 consecutive points for BYU. 13-13, and in serving for BYU is Keani Moyai. The first time we've called her name tonight. Block there, Knighting and Epic. Set back over, free ball to the Cougars. Epic! BYU takes the lead, 14-13.
Terrific blocking from Eschenberg. She came way over to read that ball, put that ball back to set up. A terrific choice for Epic to get the ball. If you're going to dump, it better go down, right, as a setter, and she picks the perfect time, and she doesn't, you watch her attack. It is very, very hard.
Keani Moyai with an effective stint there on the service line. She'll take her place back with her teammates on the bench. Knighting also out, so the rotation switch up for BYU. Tied at 14, but Moyai doing what Heather Olmstead wanted her to do. The crowd back in it. Epic. Perry. Not this time. Olade and Fitzmaurice.
And you could see the press from Fitzmaurice. That ball went straight down. There's nobody that's going to cover that.
Stanford back in front, 15-14. What a match we got going here. Mid part of the set number 3. BYU leading 2-0. We'll be back with more NCAA women's volleyball on BYU TV.
I would like to congratulate the men's basketball team on their big win this weekend. I know that one of them is here. I want you to stand up.
Stand up.
It's not me. I'm not on the team.
Then how do you explain this?
I bought it?
He's on the team.
Come on, Jake. There's no need to be humble.
I'm not on the team.
No midterm if he makes this shot, if he misses extra homework.
Gear so legit, they'll think you're on the team. BYU Store.
We're going to give Emmeline the opportunity to become a ballerina for a day.
Hey, man, hey, seriously. Like, hey. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm on the right way. Ow!
BYU Women's Volleyball on BYU TV is brought to you by the BYU Store, the official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere. Deseret First Credit Union, sharing your values. And by Intermountain Healthcare, healing for life.
Welcome back to Provo, Utah, the final day of August, which means tomorrow BYU football returns. The Cougars facing another Pac-12 foe, this time in Tucson, Arizona. Saturday night, get ready for the matchup on Countdown to Kickoff, 9:30 Eastern, 7:30 Mountain. Dave McCann, Blaine Fowler, Brian Logan in Studio C. I'll be in Tucson as the sideline reporter, but all attention back on what is happening in the Smith Fieldhouse right now. BYU up 2-0 on number 1 ranked Stanford, and out of the timeout, they go to the slide with Eschenberg. She beats the Stanford block. We're tied at 15. The Cougars are in a position not just to beat number 1, but potentially sweep number 1. Lindy Epic to McClure, Gray. Nice set, quick play, in-system offense. Olade puts it down, 16-15 Stanford. Our scorebox sponsor tonight, Brady Industries, a provider of commercial cleaning supplies and equipment. What'd you see here, Amy?
Well, I think Stanford really trying to get their middles involved a little bit, and they haven't been the whole set. And so Olade jumps well. She hits very hard. And if they can kind of move that around and take some of the pressure off of Plummer, that'll help Stanford.
Just when Stanford seems to kind of find their groove and get some momentum, the service errors have just been at critical junctures tonight. And there's another one right there, 16 all. Perry. Oh, she returns the favor to Stanford.
Well, I think you look at these two teams, and serving is so critical. You can't go up there and just get it in. That is just ridiculous. You've got to attack. It sets everything up.
That one off the net, but over and playable. Miller, dug by Hentz. McClure. Good defense by Stanford, leading to some transition offense, 18-16.
McClure using those high hands again, keeping that ball high. And the defense for BYU not able to pick it up.
Hentz, good serve. Roll shot, handled by the block.
That's tight.
McClure, and that's pushed back over by Epic. McClure one more time, dug by Mary Lake. Epic, Miller!
Epic really making good choices in the setting position, locating the ball really well. That quick set to the outside that goes to McKenna Miller opens up a huge seam because the middle for Stanford can't get out there.
Mary Lake, well, that ball just fell off the table. 18-17, the block effective enough for BYU. Knighting off the block, hence there. Fitzmaurice, and that is off the block and down. 19-17, the Cardinal trying to hang in there and eke out this third set win. The beautiful thing about volleyball is you can drop the first 2 sets, but if you win set number 3, everything kind of switches. New life. Cardinal looking for it, and that's just a mishit pass by Mary Lake, set, and it's now 20-17. We haven't seen very many of those. Stanford now in control in set 3, 20-17. We'll take a timeout. Stay with us on BYU TV.
Luxurious blanket. Getting cozy with family and friends. A gift for everyone. Minky Couture, official luxury blanket of BYU Athletics.
Okay, welcome to life. Can you get started with some education?
Charity! Charity! Tomato best, lobster best.
Delish.
BYU Women's Volleyball on BYU TV is brought to you by Tim Daly Auto Group, serving Utah since 1968. Brady Industries, honestly better. And by AAA. What does your insurance do when it's not doing insurance? It should do more. Learn more at AAA.com.
McKenna Miller, third-team All-American in her freshman season. And hoping to lead BYU to a sweep win over Stanford here. The Cardinals do have a 3-point lead at 20-17, but she's starting to show signs of that freshman version of herself. Important point right here for the Cougars, and a tough serve giving them fits once again. McClure through the block. 21-17 Stanford. We now percentage-wise are likely heading towards a 4th set. Jason, what'd you find out?
Heather Olmstead very positive with her teams. She said, we knew this was coming. We expected this. It's now time for us to become problem solvers and figure this out, but we're okay.
Miller. Defense there once again. Miller one more time. Can't beat the block of Stanford. They're toughening up at the net. On the 3rd try, she tools the block. And down for another kill. McKenna Miller with 11 now to lead everyone on BYU's side. Tied for a match high with Catherine Plummer.
Yeah, incredible patience. Just keep swinging, right? Mix it up, never give up. And that is what really got BYU to this point. And as Stanford raises their game, BYU's got to make an adjustment as well.
Heather Olmstead wanted a problem-solving answer. The block is one way to do that, 21-19. Kevin Hambley with a quick timeout.
Yeah, it's just, who would have thought? I mean, Lindy Haddock-Epic is 5'10", right? You've got a huge mismatch out there. Obviously with McClure, she's only 6 foot, but Epic has been such a force there on the outside. It hasn't been the mismatch that we assumed.
The crowd has been electric all night in the Smith Fieldhouse. We figured it would be early. Stanford was hoping to quell or squelch some of that by coming out with a fast start, and it was all BYU early. Now the crowd, it feels like, has been on their feet for most of this match, trying to will BYU to a sweep win of the #1 team in the country. A reminder to watch After Further Review every Tuesday both leading up to and now in the BYU football season. Dave McCann, Blaine Fowler, Brian Logan, David Nixon break down the X's and O's of every BYU football game to show you what went right, what went wrong, and what the Cougars are going to do against their next opponent. Tuesday, 7 Eastern, 5 Mountain, brand new episodes. BYU volleyball players supporting each other, the men to the women right now. The women will obviously return the favor when the men get going in January. 21-19. BYU trying to make it 3-0. They had an opportunity with Knighting right into the block and down.
But if you look at that, it was a double commit block on a middle, right? So clearly we talked about it at the beginning of the program. Stanford trying to shut out the middle, and they did it right there, which means if they're in there on the block, then there's other positions that are open.
Miller, that's hit wide right. No hands, 23-19. Stanford 2 points away from sending this match to a fourth set. Their backs against the wall, trailing 2-0 against BYU, who had everything going right. And now the Cardinal are digging deep. Perry, Epic, Miller this time overpowering that Stanford block to earn her 12th kill of the match. Miller now hitting .259, and she's back to serve. And a quick timeout on the floor. And you see Jenna Grave throwing her contact back in. Nothing like that, having to fall on the floor and then just popping it right back into your eye.
I know. Oh, it hit her eye right off that block. Knocked it out. Amazing she was able to find it. Hopefully she can see a little bit.
Clear off the fog. Hopefully the floor is clean enough.
Gosh.
You think she's coming out right now? No way.
I know, she said I'm fine.
Miller, BYU trailing 23-20. And the BYU block. Once again responding at a critical point. They don't want to let this third set get away.
And the solo block, Ronnie Jones-Perry all over that slide.
Plummer. Pushed right back over, and the joust at the net is won by Jenna Gray. 24-21 set point, Cardinal.
A lot of those passes coming really tight for Stanford. Jenna Gray still kind of blinking her eye a little bit. It's got to not be ideal for her, but she's doing a nice job with those tight sets.
Stetler, Epic outside Perry. Dig by McClure. Gray, set over by Plummer. Epic back to Perry one more time. Nice dig by Formico. Olade keeps it alive for Stanford. That ball is up. Perry one more time. Look at this defense from the Cardinal. Plummer is blocked by Knighting and Perry. Formico right back to Plummer, and that beats Mary Lake. The Cardinal will push this thing to 4 sets. They respond 25-21. And finally, the Cardinal faithful have something to cheer about.
Well, and that was an effort, and that point summed up everything about this match for the Cardinal. Every point, very hard fought and earned.
Let's play at least one more frame. 9th-ranked BYU leading 2-1 over number 1 ranked Stanford. Coming back on BYU TV right after this.
Get outside with the ones you love and enjoy the open road. And the closed one. We believe in family, fun, and experiences that last. And we want to be there as you make new memories over and over again. That's why we're proud to carry the popular Nissan Rogue. Tim Daly Nissan Southtown. Family owned since 1968.
I'm Precious Anderson.
I'm Paris Anderson, and we have a 3-year-old son and a 7-year-old daughter.
There's always been questions. I believe my biological mom gave me my name. I think it was around 7 that I actually got adopted. We had visits when I was smaller with my parents. I think I thought the visits would continue afterwards, but that stops. It was heartbreaking to know that this is it, but I had to move on.
The smallest things about not knowing her family affects her. Something as small as not knowing who she looks like, you know, where she gets certain characteristics from.
I think my number one question would be, did you ever look for me after the adoption? Like, did you ever try to look and find me? But again, I'm not expecting anything specific. It's just simply being able to see and talk to them, anyone, would be nice.
I just want her to be at peace with whatever is revealed along this journey.
We're going to give Emmeline the opportunity to become a ballerina for a day.
Hey, man, hey, let's seriously. Like, hey. I'm okay. I'm okay. Is it on the right way? Ow!
Catherine Plummer and Stanford survive and advance to set number 4 after trailing 2-0. The first team All-American with 12 kills, 3 digs, a block and an ace, but hitting just 147. She's swung 34 times, 7 hitting errors. Not great, but she's done enough to help her team try and find a rhythm.
Well, I think that, that's sports, right? Sometimes you go out and everything you hit is awesome, and some nights are struggles, and some nights it's just a grind. And so whatever you're faced with, you've got to power through, knowing that you've got to get it done.
And I like the point that you brought up about 20 minutes ago, and that is, look, when my number 1 attack scheme isn't working, you go to number 2, and then number 3, and BYU's block has typically been there. She's had to work for those 12 kills.
I know, not easy.
Upcoming schedule for BYU, they'll close out their Nike BYU invite against Wichita State tomorrow. Then they travel to Milwaukee to compete in the Marquette tournament. Return home, take on an always motivated Utah team at Weber State on September 15th, and then into West Coast Conference play. Stanford, we talked about their doubleheader tomorrow against Wichita State and West Virginia, but then look at the gauntlet they face after that. Penn State, Minnesota, Texas.
Twice.
Home and road right there. Incredible run. Mary Lake to serve to open up set number 4. BYU leading 2-1. Fitzmaurice scores first for the Cardinal, and like they did in set number 3, Stanford with that first point. Let's find out what Jason Shepard has been up to.
Needless to say, the Stanford huddle was quite excited after winning that third set. The coaching staff telling the players they were really pleased with how they responded. They said, you did what we asked you to do, but just like BYU knew we were going to come back and play better, we know BYU is now going to come back and play better. So there's still things we need to clean up and come out here in the 4th set ready to go, guys.
Thank you, Jason. Formico with the service error. Makes it 1-1. Sydney Martindale to serve for the Cougars. To Hentz. Gray. And that ball is inside Mary Lake. On the slide, successfully, Holly Campbell gives Stanford a 2-1 lead.
Two kills for Stanford on what looked like nice, well-formed offensive system swings, which is really, as we look at it, that shouldn't be a surprise, but it is, because it's been a grind for Stanford. They haven't been able to find a rhythm.
Plummer. And that one kind of flicked off of her fingertips, but no problem. It still counts the same for a point. 3-1 Stanford.
Yeah, her last 3, she'll take it.
Plummer with 13 kills. They serve Perry. Miller, good dig. Lake to Epic. They go right back to McKenna Miller. And even the reigning Pac-12 Libero of the Year, Morgan Hentz, can't get to that. McKenna Miller's confidence growing seemingly with each swing.
Right, and you can see down the line, then cross court, mixing it up, really making those defenders move.
Ace! Miller follows up that kill with a ball that dips down and finds The line in the back, and it's 3-3 in set number 4. BYU leading 2-1. Miller off the tape, playable. Gray, Plummer, stuffed. Guess who's involved once again? Epic.
And you watch Epic get that block and turn around and give all that energy to her team. Just a lot of fighters on this floor. BYU really has some intense players that are really fun to watch.
Campbell. We talked about swings in system.
Yeah.
That's one right there.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the true freshman going behind the setter, showing she's very versatile. They can get her the ball more. That's going to round out that Stanford offense.
4-4 in set 4. Sydney Wilson. Epic outside Perry. RJP, Ronnie Jones-Perry, has been quiet, was quiet for most of set 3. Now trying to find her groove here in set 4, now with 11 kills.
What a swing, blasting that sideline. So much power.
She's got a double-double, 11 kills, 10 digs, 4 blocks. Alade.
Good work from Alade, that ball.
She's been crafty
low.
on a few of those.
And that's what you have to do, especially when you jump that well. She's up so high, she's up waiting for the ball. If that set's not there, you still got to get it over.
Jenna Gray, the Lake, Epic, slide, Eschenberg, nowhere to go. Plummer and Alade team up for the block. 6-5 Stanford back in front.
That's a big block. Plummer all over that.
Catherine Plummer giving Stanford the 1-point lead. Perry. Oh, what a dig by Hintz. Now Stanford wants an explanation as to what they did wrong.
Well, anytime you have that particular call, it's got to go one way or the other. It's got to be an overcall for the blocker that's inhibiting the set, or it's got to be a back row block with the setter jumping trying to set it. So that time they decided that ball was too far over the net, and it went BYU's way.
6-6. Epic serves. McClure, Gray, back set, Plummer.
That set going a little tight, right? But because there was no block there, there was a huge hole in the block. That enabled Plummer to just hammer that.
I mean, that's just easy pickings right there.
Straight down.
7-6. Plummer back to serve now. She has been by far the most effective server for the Cardinal here tonight. To Lake, Epic, Perry. We hear it ad nauseum. Pass, serve, receive.
Perry.
When it's good,
and look at her
good
coming
things
in.
happen.
Yeah, exactly. And one-on-one situation, that ball way inside the court. Great setting options right now for BYU. The block for Stanford just not putting up a double block consistently.
A roll shot off a soft block. Epic there. McKenna Miller. When BYU has the luxury of having an effective Ronnie Jones-Perry and McKenna Miller.
Right. No wonder there's no block up. How do you get to both antenna? And they're running a very quick set to both those sides. So it's very, very hard to put up a well-formed block.
Fitzmaurice. And Mary Lake does her best to try and get after that ball, but Fitzmaurice with a big swing. And she came on in set number 3 and helped Stanford kind of pull away from BYU there in the middle part of the set. Clearly, she's going to be a key for Stanford if they want to push this to 5. Eschenberg. Epic, now to Miller. Dug by Hintz. Gray, McClure, Lake is there. Epic, backline Perry, and the block is there. Fitzmaurice and the freshman Campbell.
And both these teams trading side outs back and forth. I think we've seen the game raise just a little bit. we forget that this is only the first or second weekend of the whole season. These teams are playing at a very, very high level.
Haddock, dug, joust at the net, pushed over. BYU handles it. Miller, that's hit long. 10-8. Stanford over BYU. We're just talking about Fitzmaurice. Her numbers, Amy. 10 kills. She's hitting .350. 4 blocks.
Right, just kind of quietly getting it done there on the right side for Stanford.
We don't often see that from Morgan Hintz.
No, I think she's struggling a little bit tonight at kind of finding her rhythm defensively. I think BYU is working sidelines back and forth, kind of mixing it up quite a bit. Plus, when you've got a huge seam all the time, it's really hard to know where to set up.
Good recovery. Fitzmaurice able to keep that ball alive. Left-handed push by Knighting. Stanford. That was an interesting exchange, and that point was bound to end ugly.
Because on that one, everyone wanted a swing.
11-9 Stanford. BYU thought they had the block to tie it up at 10-10, but credit the net recovery there from the Cardinal to just keep that ball up. And it goes Stanford's way, 11-9. Former Dakota Lake, Knighting. 11-10. This has been such an energy-charged match.
Well, and how exciting for BYU. Look at Knighting, true freshman, coming in. This is only your 4th match. You're going to play the #1 team in the country. No fear. She's been up. She's been ready. She's been blocking very, very well. Very exciting for the youth on this BYU team.
The block, and it looked like Campbell didn't do ourselves any favors. Hitting into the net was assisting that block right there, 11-11.
But if Miller's right there, you better believe she's going to celebrate. If you're going to make the effort to jump.
You made me jump. Give me a stat. Give me a stat.
Exactly.
11-all, set 4. BYU leading 2-1, trying to upset #1 ranked Stanford. Down the line, hit left. Megan McClure looked right at her teammates and said, "My bad."
Well, you have that missed opportunity. Jenna Gray jump set, drew the middle blocker. It's a one-on-one. That should be down every time. McClure knows it was just a miss.
BYU back in front, 12-11. They're on a 3-0 run. Martindale serves again. Gray to McClure. Opportunity for BYU. Miller stuffed. What a response from Stanford.
Holly Campbell getting over there to close that block. Shut down Miller, especially because Miller loves to hit that sharp cross. And look at this block. 2 blockers, no seam whatsoever.
Gray and Campbell on the team block right there. 12-12. Miller can't solve the block. Same combination. Knighting sets it over. And that time, Catherine Plummer tools the block. And the Cardinal are back in front, 13-12, back and forth, set #4.
Smart play from Plummer. She had 2 blockers in front of her. She's just going to use those hands to the inside of the court. McClure serves Perry. Epic. Miller. That ball might have been going out. McClure played it on the slide, pushed down. Oh, what a touch by Holly Campbell. Just a teardrop floater to the deep corner. But interesting, look, at that set was low, right? There was nothing. She's selling tip all the way, but because she looked like she was maybe going to tip short, the whole defense had collapsed in. She punched it deep and got the kill.
3-0 run for Stanford to go back up 14-12. Epic. Knighting slide. The block is there. Catherine Plummer. Danger zone for BYU here in set #4, trailing by 3 with Stanford on a 4-0 run. Timeout. Top 10 outstanding volleyball match continues on BYU TV after this short break.
AAA agents like Rich are popping up where people are having doubts about insurance, like at an open house.
So what questions do you have for me?
Do we have to have insurance before we even buy the house?
If you want to outsmart insurance doubt, visit a AAA branch.
In the timeline of life, you make choices every day, like buying your first car, what a beaut, or serving your mission. You come home and hop right into college. And then that magic day comes, marriage. Getting married is incredible and pricey. But you know what? Children are even pricier. Your family grows and you need that first home. No matter where you are in the timeline of life, Deseret First Credit Union is right there with you. DFCU, your values, your timeline, your financial future.
I ain't got no chip.
The BYU TV Sports Countdown to Kickoff. BYU at Arizona, 9:30 Eastern, 7:30 Mountain. Tomorrow on BYU TV.
Set number 4, BYU and Stanford, with the Cougars leading 2-1, but trailing by 3 here in set 4. A reminder to watch BYU football with head coach Kalani Sitake, Tuesday nights, hosted by the voice of the Cougars, Greg Wrubell, from Studio C. Full hour of conversations with the head coach, a player guest in front of a live studio audience and all of Cougar Nation. Tuesdays, 8 Eastern, 6 Mountain on BYU TV and BYU Radio. Kalani Sitake and company open up the season tomorrow night against Arizona in Tucson. 10:45 Eastern kick time, 7:45 Pacific time. And I'm sure some of the football team from Tucson watching their 9th-ranked BYU women's team take on top-ranked Stanford on BYU TV. Out of the timeout, Heather Knighting off the quick set. Utilizes the block, 15-13. McKenna Miller. Fomiko. Campbell responds immediately. Went right back at that ball as it hovered above the tape and put it down for a kill.
As we approach this 5th set, obviously Stanford working, right? You go down 2, it's a battle to try to kind of get back and force that 5th set. For BYU, they want to keep it from 5 at all costs because anything can happen in that 5th set. It goes so crazy that BYU wants to come back right here, not let Stanford get any further ahead.
And an ace for the Cardinal to make it a 4-point advantage. It is now a 5-0 run. Epic sold that beautifully with her body.
That was absolutely fantastic. When she dumps, it is not just a little tip over the net. It is a full-on attack, straight down, hard throw.
Epic with 2 kills now after that emphatic dump.
I think BYU's got to serve a lot tougher than that if they want to disrupt this offense. And that's what they did those first 2 sets, right? They were able to really put pressure on the passing lanes. Lately, however, Stanford has no problem staying in system.
18-14, Jenna Gray. Martindale, Epic cross-court set, Perry. Past Hentz, 18-15. BYU still with a hill to climb in set number 4 if they want to avoid a 5th and decisive set.
Jones Perry really stays off the net well, keeping the ball in front of her. She's able to see her block.
Plummer. Gray goes cross court. Fitzmaurice. That's 11 kills for Adriana Fitzmaurice.
She just kind of slowly got started, is getting better and better each time she swings. A beautiful line shot. She waits for that ball. No defender.
Plummer to serve now with a 4-point lead, 19-15, nearly an ace. BYU lucky just to keep that ball up. Mary Lake, big dig. Perry pushes it with the left hand, heads-up play by the senior Ronnie Jones Perry to recognize the open part of the floor.
And Mary Lake, you cannot say enough what she means to this team. She provides them so many more opportunities to get a kill with that amazing defense.
15 digs now for Lake. And an ace! The second of the night from Ronnie Jones-Perry. BYU within 2, 19-17. Perry one more time. To Plummer. Gray. McClure. And that's a great swing. 20-17. Stanford needs 5 points to push this to a 5th set, where, as you said, Amy, anything goes.
It's the worst. It's just crazy because you can't go off anything that happened in the previous 4 sets. It all comes down to maybe one momentum swing, and that's the match.
Eschenberg.
Good reach.
McClure. That was a great pass, but the block is in place.
Yeah, you're looking at McClure. How can she track what's in front of her? She can't. You see her eyes. She has to watch the set because it's coming from behind her. She loses complete vision of the huge block in front of her. That's just hard. That's not one you take a big swing at.
Lake. Oh, and it's pushed right back over. Fitzmaurice, with her head on a swivel, does a good job to recognize that she's got BYU defenders out of place and scores the easy kill.
Well, isn't that nice when you're 6'7"? You don't even have to jump. You just hammer that straight down.
21-18 Stanford. Overpass. No problem for Holly Campbell. 22-18 timeout BYU and Heather Olmstead. We appear to be likely headed for a 5th set. We're going to take a break as BYU talks it over, try and pull off a miracle comeback here at the end of set 4 and prevent a 5th.
Are you looking for a better way to deliver results this year? Expanding your product line or building new locations? How about your online presence? Does it need a boost? Maybe you just want to put a little more distance between you and the competition. Tap into the powerful engine of BYU Athletics and let us put together a plan unique to your business. We can provide you with the tools designed to enhance your brand on a local, regional, or national level. We invite your team to join ours. For details, email sponsorship@byu.edu today.
I'm Mike Brown.
No, I get to introduce you.
This is my daughter, Austin. I was born in New London, Connecticut in 1962 to my mother and a man I didn't know. My mother was never really forthright in telling me who my father was. I would like to ask my dad how he's doing. Where have you been? What's your life story? Good, bad? Are you on track to becoming the person that you want to be?
BYU and Stanford late in set 4. The Cardinal 3 points away from sending this to a 5th set. They trailed 2-0. Hence, pancake dig. Lake there defensively for BYU. McKenna Miller, 22-19. Stanford still very much in control here in set 4. Trying to stave off some sort of comeback. Sydney Martindale. An overpass. Oh, look at the block and play by Gray.
What a clutch play, Jenna Gray. That is huge right there. A big, big point to get her team just 2 points away.
23-19, nearly an ace, an overpass, and Gray blocks it like it's nothing. McClure to Perry. And a free ball back to the Cardinal. Plummer off the fingertips of the BYU block. It's 24-19, set point. And the Stanford faithful on their feet. They realize what a grind it's been to get to this juncture.
Well, I think Stanford just relentless, right? They're going to keep attacking. And these are hard, high swings. Finally finding a rhythm.
Megan McClure to serve for set 4 to Mary Lake. Epic, Knighting. And McClure gave a good stab at that with her right hand to pop it up for a moment. But it's down for a kill, 24-20. BYU forces at least one more point here in set 4.
Knighting, 3 blockers on the 3. No big deal. Great swing from the freshman.
BYU had one of the top recruiting classes in signees, including Heather Knighting, who is one of the nation's top recruits. She chose to come to Provo, Utah from her nearby hometown of Pleasant Grove, Utah. And is beginning what looks like a very, very bright career for the Cougars. On the slide, Martindale and Lake team up. Pass back over by Epic. The BYU block will try and reset. Campbell. And that ball is down. We'll go to a 5th set.
What a battle. An epic match. This is exciting.
First of 15 in set 5 after this between number 1 and number 9. Stay with us.
If I got hurt and was laid up at home, I wouldn't even think to call a lawyer. What a hassle. I'd want to meet them first.
What if I told you that for your first consultation, your lawyer will come to you, home or hospital?
Really?
Really.
They do that?
If you've been injured, we'll come to you. It's your job to get better. It's our job to deal with the insurance companies.
Learn more at SiegfriedandJensen.com.
Let's do this.
It's about heart. It's about moving people, and it's not about notes on a page.
Go get him, kid.
Ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
We will probably be the most competitive team you've had on this show.
You excited? Totally.
Okay, it's gonna be fun.
Grandpa!
We're gonna be crying for the rest of the day, guys.
Aren't they special? That's how it's supposed to be.
I am Jerica Henline.
I'm Joe Henline.
And we're siblings. I was very blessed to have a family that loved me and cared for me. And I also feel like family is what makes you feel grounded in this world. I think one of the first things I want to ask a relative when I meet them is to just tell me their story. We all have a journey in this life, and all of us have a purpose. And I want to know that about them.
Tuesday on BYU football with Kalani Sitake. The coach recaps the Arizona game, previews the matchup with Cal, and answers your questions using the hashtag Sitake Show. Watch BYU football with Kalani Sitake Tuesday at 8 Eastern on BYU TV.
Into set 5 we go. BYU hoping to have their star and returning All-American Ronnie Jones-Perry catch fire here in this 5th and decisive set. 14 kills, hitting .312, 2 aces, 10 digs, 4 blocks. But she did the primary amount of her damage in the first 2 sets, and Stanford has not really given her an opportunity to get going in the 2 sets that the Cardinal have come back and won.
Well, I think, you know, each game is going to be different, and it's just going to be a battle. You don't know what you're going to get, and so anyone on the bench needs to be able to step in so we get a good look at the All-WCC preseason team. A lot of Cougars, rightly so, a lot of returning talent for BYU.
5 of the 10, in fact. Half of that All-WCC preseason team for the heavy West Coast Conference favorites and current 9th-ranked team in the country. Set 5, first of 15, winner take all. Perry, look at that dig by McClure. Gray, cross-court set, Plummer! And that's a good swing from BYU.
It is.
And just better defense by Stanford.
Well, and that's that transition offense that Stanford just slow to get going.
McClure to serve after Stanford scores the opening point in set number 5. Perry receives. Epic goes to Knighting. Formico there. Plummer this time can't get by the BYU block. Knighting And Epic there on the far right side of BYU's net, and it's 1-1.
So the critical thing in a fifth set is how are you going to finish? Which rotation do you want to be in at the end of the set? It becomes so critical.
Moyai with a tough serve, and Plummer just short arms that ball. A little too much soft on that touch, and a big point giving back to BYU. The Cougars up 2-1. How about the block numbers? BYU with 13.5. Excuse me, Stanford with 13.5. BYU with 13. Moyai, man, back-to-back great serves. Look at that shot from Megan McClure. 2-2. Jason Shepard, what do you have for us?
In the BYU huddle and before the fifth set, Heather Olmstead told her team nothing has changed in terms of what's possible for us. We're in the situation we wanted to be. It all comes down to this fifth set. If we go out and execute, good things will happen.
Very close numbers. BYU hitting 216 for the match. Stanford 204. Both teams with an equal number of digs at 41. Perry. Formico pops that ball up. Plummer. There's Martindale. Epic right back to Perry. 3-2 BYU.
BYU really sticking with that pass to start that entire rally off, because you can see Stanford serving tough, BYU serving tough. It's all going to come down to who can control that serve pass game. It is good for BYU to have Ronnie Jones-Perry in the front row. However, she's in right front right now, so they've got to score as much as possible before she rotates to the back.
Great quick set. That ball is hit basically down in front of the 10-foot line.
Alade jumps really, really high. And when you contact high and you're up high, that ball can be hit at the 2-foot line.
Tammy Alade, the senior middle blocker out of Sherwood Park, Alberta, Canada. Oh, Canada right there. 3-3, set 5. Perry. The block deflects back off of Ronnie Jones-Perry. And there is the 14th, make it 14.5 blocks for Stanford now against BYU.
Perry trying to go down the line, but Plummer making a good move to take that away.
4-3 Stanford, Jenna Gray. Epic, Perry one more time. Gray was there, but just overpowered by the swing.
Well, and there's that adjustment, right? She went down the line, so Plummer's really dialed in, taking away that line. This time she's going to cut it sharp cross. You could see her turn in the air. There was nowhere else she could go with that ball. To try to keep it away from Plummer, she had to turn her whole body.
4-4, set number 5. BYU won the first 2 sets, 25-22, 25-20. Stanford bounced back, 25-21 and 25-20. And now, deadlocked, first to 15, 4 apiece. Perry, Plummer, Gray, Fitzmaurice. Pancake, Mary Lake. Roll shot, Miller. Back to McClure. Gray. Alade couldn't quite get her hand around that ball. Tip shot by Haddock, and now Mary Lake going to be forced to pass that back over. An overpass, and they're going to call BYU into the net.
And that was close, because for Stanford, that was a free ball, right? They needed to take control of that. Look at this. Incredible up, Mary Lake again, and then we'll get a good tight. This was a free ball pass. Wow, that was
and now Heather Olmstead is going to challenge that, understandably.
Now you can see the net moving. Clearly it's moving, but where? Is it just from the momentum?
I don't know.
I think it just was moving from the floor, like people jumping. There's just a little movement.
The ball hits it, and so it's still moving
it's still
right there.
Moving, yeah.
I don't think it ever came to a stop. And if anybody, yeah, I don't know.
That's tough.
Was the ball hit, or was the net hit on the underside from Miller's leg, perhaps? I don't know.
But it's not my job. Because this, look at
wow.
this, 5-4 in the 5th. This is a pretty critical call right here. Because, like we said, it all, ooh, that's a nice shot.
That looks like Stanford into the net, if anyone. And Lacey Haddock reacted thinking, oh, that's an easy call. I don't know. Like I said, I'm glad it's not my choice.
But good
it's a
camera
huge
work.
swing point. Yeah,
There's
great angles right there. As always, the BYU TV Sports crew bringing it tonight for this top 10 matchup and had you covered in all areas of the Smith Fieldhouse.
Okay, so when we have this big break in the points, let's pretend like it's a whole nother game, right? So now it's just a game to 10. We come out of this and it is a sprint to the finish, and you've got to be on and you've got to attack and you can't make errors, and there's got to be emotion, and it's amazing. Could go either way.
As it stands, point to Stanford. The call was given to the Cardinal. They lead 5-4 unless this call is overturned, and then it will swing back to BYU. Second challenge at Heather Olmstead as issued, and she has the right to 3 per match. See Olmstead, 90 wins, 11 losses in her brilliant career, now into season 4.
We might be here a while.
They're looking at everything. They understand
Well, yeah, this is a
the
big
juncture of this
call.
point in game. Reminder that 22nd ranked Utah, also out of the Pac-12, will visit the Smith Fieldhouse and take on now number 9 ranked BYU Thursday, September 13th, 9 Eastern, 7 Mountain Time.
So
Johnny Neely is showing his opinion, the assistant coach for BYU, of what he thinks happened with Stanford into the net.
Well, I think it's, regardless of what the call is,
and it is a point to BYU. So the Cougars take that swing and go back up 5-4.
Right, but more importantly, what do we do now, right? You know, it's in essence a tied game. What rotations are we in? Where's Catherine Plummer? How's she playing? Fitzmaurice is in the front row for Stanford. Who's going to get the ball here?
Gray, Plummer. Well, that's a pretty good response after that long wait, 5-5.
No-look line shot to the deep corner, and look at Mary Lake, the emotional leader. Move on, right? The next point, that's the key with the 5th set. You can't spend time thinking about anything but the present.
Plummer serves Miller down the middle. Oh, Hentz gave it a good go, reckless abandon, but to no avail. Point BYU, 6-5.
Both teams just trading side outs. Nice high swing. Eschenberg using the block.
Mary Lake to serve, 6-5. Plummer setting off the serve. McClure off the block, and that ball kind of weaves its way down inside the BYU defense, 6-6. If you're just joining us, welcome. What a match. Set 5, tied at 6. BYU won the first 2 sets. Stanford won the next 2. The Cougars trying to find a way against number 1. Haddock stuffed.
That set a little off the net. It was behind Haddock, so she lost a little of her power.
Lead back to the Cardinal at 7-6.
And obviously you want to keep your hitters off the net so that they have a lot of room to work with, especially against a big block.
14.5 blocks for Stanford as a team. Knighting off the quick set, tied at 7.
Knighting finding a way. You know, she has had a huge wall in front of her on every single swing tonight, and she has found a way to get it through.
Heather Knighting with 9 kills and 9 blocks. Sydney Martindale. Ace! Fifth ace of the match for BYU. And the first from Sydney Martindale. BYU 8-7 lead. At 8 points, the teams switch sides of the floor.
And the bottom drops out of that Martindale using all of this light air to get a lot of movement on that ball.
We'll take a break. 8-7, fifth set. 9th-ranked BYU, number 1 Stanford.
We're changing how you receive health care to give you more choices, to be more personal, like seeing a doctor from your hotel room rather than a patient room, or seeing your primary care physician when you normally couldn't. It's putting you first and also putting you more in control. It's care how, where, and when you want it. Intermountain Healthcare. Visit healingforlife.com.
My name is Eric Dowdle. I'm an artist, and I never leave without my sketch pad. That's because I can't help but draw and paint the great places I get to visit.
Tonight we're going out into the Bermuda Triangle.
It's an archipelago of adventure. From hidden caves to ocean depths to abandoned shipwrecks, there's no shortage of exotic exploration to pack into one painting.
So join me as we paint the town of Bermuda.
Fifth set, BYU leading Stanford 8-7. The 9th-ranked Cougars took the first 2 sets against the top-ranked Cardinal, dropped the next 2, and now have the slimmest of leads in this race to 15 in the decisive final sets. Reminder, watch Relative Race premieres on September 16th. The block is there for BYU, but not the second time. Fitzmaurice has been the steady, calm hand for the Cardinal throughout this match.
But now Stanford has rotated into that 5-1. They've only got 2 hitters in the front row. Jenna Gray isn't very offensive herself, so that puts a lot of pressure on some freshmen.
Service error. 9-8 BYU. McKenna Miller. Now back to serve for the Cougars.
Look for the ball going to McClure. They're on the outside. They may even want to get Plummer involved out of the back row.
Miller does a good job to hesitate. Perry, yes!
BYU with the nice dig, able to transition, and who else? Ronnie Jones-Perry on the outside, big time kill.
10-8 BYU, the Cougars 5 points away.
I'm Tiffany Lewis. This is my husband, Josh Lewis.
I've never known my father, never seen a picture. Yeah, it's always been ends, man. It's always been like, you know, I want to see the man that was me. I want to see, I don't know. I don't want to look at the dude. I don't know. I just talk to him or something.
All I want is for Josh to just be able to say, like, I know who my father is, or I've seen what he looks like. I just want him to feel whole.
I ain't got no chip.
The BYU TV Sports Postgame. BYU at Arizona. Tomorrow, after the game, on BYU TV.
BYU Broadcasting has the following position available. For more information or to apply, visit yjobs.byu.edu.
10-8 BYU, the 9th-ranked Cougars leading number 1 Stanford in the 5th and decisive set. It has been everything we hoped it would be and more. Block BYU, but look at Hentz come up with a huge play. The Cougars will try and pay it off. Perry!
Epic with a huge block to start that off, and a great effort from Hentz. But because it was a free ball situation, BYU able to transition and get that point.
Service error by Miller gives a point back to the Cardinal, 11-9. Jason Shepard, what would you like to add to this conversation?
One of the things that Heather Olmstead was very pleased with is the fact that her team is filling the spaces. That's what led to that big dig that kept BYU's run alive. That's one of the things she talked about, said she's very pleased with the play.
Ronnie Perry off the block, off hands, no problem for McClure. Gray serves Campbell, and she is absolutely roofed.
Knighting jumps with Jenna Gray, leaving Plummer one-on-one. Ronnie Jones-Perry gets right in there with a big-time block.
12-9, Plummer into the BYU block. Now on the other side, Moyai there, no problem. Perry down, 13-9. BYU needs 2 points to take down number 1.
As great as Perry has been, how did that ball go down? Look at that swing, just barely trickling inside Campbell's hands using the equipment.
Ronnie Perry now with 19 kills, tied for a match high with Catherine Plummer of Stanford. She's hitting .333, 10 digs, 5 blocks, 2 aces. She has done it all.
Well, and this is what you want, right? You want Perry in the front row at the end of this match, and that's right where she is.
Stanford battled and battled to get this thing into set number 5 after being overwhelmed in the opening 2 sets. And let's not forget the challenge by Heather Olmstead when this match was tied at 4-4. The point went to Stanford to get the Cardinal a 5-4 lead. She got it reversed. And the Cougars have utilized that momentum from that point, and an ace from Sydney Martindale to put the Cougars up 8-7 and have taken off from that point.
So now each point becomes so critical as you look to the other side. What is the block going to have to face here? You've got Plummer there in the front row, Jenna Gray's in the front row, 2-hitter situation. Plummer's got to be the one to take this ball.
Moyai has been a service line problem for the Cardinal. Good heads-up hit right there from Plummer to pick up her 20th kill. She found a spot and pulls Stanford within 3, 13-10. Sydney Wilson now back in a big-time pressure situation to serve.
Ronnie Jones-Perry and Eschenberg in the front row.
Perry tools the block with the tip. It is match point for BYU.
Perry knew exactly where she wanted that ball to hit. She placed it perfectly.
Coach is screaming at the players on the floor. It is almost inaudible here on match point. Plummer, and will play at least one more point. 21 kills for Catherine Plummer. 14-11, 5th set. One more wins it for BYU as they look to take down number 1 in the country for just the 3rd time in program history and first time since 2000. Lake. Perry, right at.
Oh, that's tight.
Gray and Plummer. No! Point BYU! Are they going to challenge this?
For sure, look at this ball that was tight to the net. Plummer is going to try to use the hands of Ronnie Jones-Perry, but that was kind of an epic letdown for these fans as we get a good look at this swing. Did she tool the hands out of bounds? Definitely. Great play from Plummer to keep this alive for her team as they try to eke their way back in.
Yeah, this is not quite the close call that we saw at 5-4. This one should be more clear and should go to Stanford to make it 14-12.
He has the challenge there, but wow, there's your talk about emotion, right? Being a big critical part. We come out of this as we get to see a replay.
Now they're going to check everything right here to make sure that Plummer didn't hit the net.
Yes,
She didn't.
yeah.
Clearly did
And
not hit the net.
Antenna not touched.
It shouldn't take that long.
No. He's seeing if it hit the antenna.
Well, in the off chance that somehow they don't get this right and award BYU, it will be a delayed celebration for sure.
Was there a net play?
Oh, man.
To me, this seems cut and dry, but maybe they're looking at something I don't see.
Well, if you want some more drama, I don't know where else you go. The power of true reality television in the form of sports strikes again.
You got to keep warm.
BYU
Stay
obviously
loose.
trying to stay loose. Yes, you see Miller there. Sydney Martindale, Moai. How about the role she's played from the service line for BYU?
Right.
Now, did that ball, after it hit Ronnie Jones' arm, kind of hit the antenna? Because the antenna started to move just a little bit, but either way, that's
yeah.
off Ronnie
Yeah,
Perry.
Yeah. I'm really shocked why this is taking so long. We've got 5,000 people breathlessly waiting.
We'll take another look. Perhaps you at home can see something that we don't. I think what they're looking at is for a definitive angle that ball hit off of Perry first and then kind of grazed the antenna, maybe? I don't know what else is in question.
Yeah, I don't know.
We think it's going to be 14-12 coming out of this. I think we're in agreement, are we not?
Yes. But I have been wrong before.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's a look at the Smith Fieldhouse. Incredible atmosphere. If it goes in favor of BYU, it will finalize the upset of #1 Stanford. Yeah,
No,
I just don't see anything
It's not moving.
that would send it in favor of BYU on this point.
Now she lands under, but I think that would be. Oh, does she
Does her
graze the
finger?
antenna?
Does her pinky hit the antenna?
I don't think it does. It doesn't move a bit. Wow, that's really
Did
close.
her pinky hit the antenna?
I don't think it did.
You cannot make this up.
Goodness. What a battle.
Okay.
Oh, we've got like 6 angles on this.
Does her pinky hit it? Or does
It
Ronnie
looks like
Perry's
it.
finger hit it on the other side? But
Oh,
okay,
that's a
now
nice
perhaps
shot.
maybe that's a clear answer
That's a nice shot. Good camera
that
angle on the
Catherine
net
Plummer's
cam.
pinky on the follow-through hit the pin.
But I didn't even see the antenna moving until that particular shot.
Okay, now we see. Now we know what is taking so long. Jason Shepard, do you know something that we don't as well?
Well, what I know is I've got a clear view of the replay official's face, and I would not want to be him right now.
Did she net? Oh, he's made a call.
And the call, point BYU! Down goes #1! The BYU Cougars pick up their first victory against a #1 ranked team in women's volleyball since 2000. 18 years in the making, and the Cougars stay undefeated, 4-0, and you better believe they will for that number 9 spot.
An incredible effort from this team from the first point, and they didn't let up the entire time. The fight was there the whole time. Credit Stanford coming out, making changes to really push BYU and then take it to the absolute limit to finish that 5th set.
An all-time match on BYU TV. 5 sets. BYU wins the first two, 25-22, 25-20. Stanford, with that championship swagger they have out of the Pac-12, wins sets 3 and 4 in just a brutal, hostile environment, 25-21, 25-20, where the Cougars hold it off in set number 5, 15-11. Ronnie Perry, our MVP of the game, brought to you by AAA. What does your insurance do when it's not doing insurance? It should do more. Learn more at AAA.com. 20 kills, 341 hitting clip, 10 digs, 5 blocks, 2 aces, and a partridge in a pear tree. Ronnie Perry is with Jason Shepard.
Ronnie, you guys just knocked off the #1 team in the country. What does that feel like?
It's awesome. The crowd in here is unreal. There's so much energy. It feels good.
How long did that last replay feel like? It was only a couple minutes, but how long did it feel?
Too long. Too long.
So take me through what it's like. You're up 2 sets. They come back and send it to the 5th set. What goes into getting yourself ready for that 5th set?
We talk to each other a lot. Stanford's a really good team, obviously, and we knew that they were going to play better. We knew that they were going to push us, so we just wanted to stay focused on us and go fight hard.
One of the things everybody talked about this week is you want to see where you stacked up against a team like this. What did you learn about your team tonight?
I just built more belief. I know that we can go and fight against the best of the best, and good things are going to happen for us. We still have work to do, but I'm super pumped right now.
Congratulations on an unbelievable win. Go celebrate with your team.
Thank you.
Ronnie Perry with Jason Shepard. Well, it wasn't without drama, without some controversy, multiple challenges in the 5th set, and the game-winning point, unlike anything I've ever seen before in college volleyball. A minutes to decide an upset of #1 Stanford. BYU stays perfect. Final score, 3 sets to 2 in favor of the 9th-ranked Cougars. Join us tomorrow night. The start of football on Countdown to Kickoff, 9:30 Eastern. For the fabulous Amy Gant, Jason Shepard, and our remarkable crew, I'm Spencer Linton saying goodnight from Provo. It's another Cougar winner.